What's up, YouTube? What's up, Xtreme Gainz family? I'm Chuck. This is Xtreme Gainz. I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing I say is or ever will be financial advice. Please do not take it as such. You guys wanted to see the updates, I guess, daily. We'll try it today and see what happens here. But on the piggyback on the video from this weekend of the micro to macro algorithmic fractal comparisons that I put out. Excuse me, this here is the 10-minute chart from Wednesday of last week, Wednesday after hours, Wednesday or Thursday pre-market, and Thursday. And this is the 4-hour current that we're in now, with the arrow depicting today. Now, where I'm at with this is, I believe if this is where we're at, and if this is the indeed future projection and what I saw happen on Wednesday when this caught up to the macro, like I explained, bypassed it and went on to make these movements out in front now in current time. If this is it, and I'm waiting for this inside corner here and move to the upside to show itself here on macro to confirm whether or not that's it. It does look like it's making this move. I mean, it literally did exactly what I was anticipating it doing today if it was this. So that's a good sign, but again, I'm not quite ready. I did go back through the whole way to, I think October, September 2020, and looked at the January run-up and as well as the May-June run-up, and it is shown in the micro movements. However, to gauge that and translate it from a micro movement like this to a macro chart to gauge length or distance and height or depth is what I'm not quite sure how to do yet. I'm talking to a few people, we're discussing it and how we could potentially do that and convert that to then make a full-on projection once we can identify how to do that, as well as going back through and highlighting all the indicators. And I believe this is an indication, fractal, if you will, or pattern, or chart pattern or chart movement. It is an indicator. It's all through the chart. There's this one, this side, and then it's completely flipped, mirrored. This portion of it is anyways. And then you still have this movement. And on the flipped, mirrored versions, what I keep seeing is a complete down move from here instead of it getting flat and building out this consolidation area with the rejections. But so I'm working that out as well. I'm going back through all of those and documenting. I've been on it. So again, trying to make sure, just fully put forth the effort that it deserves to confirm everything, back test it thoroughly. And then I'm going to try to put it all together once I have all the information. But like I said in the last video, I truly believe in my heart that this is the key to the algo. I think this is the gateway to figuring this thing out in its entirety. I really do. And I believe it's it. It is the mecca in my mind as far as the key to the door of breaking this thing completely wide open. So anyways, with that said, again, it looks to me, and I feel like we're potentially right here, right now, if this is it, and it did exactly what I thought it was going to do today. I thought we'd get a little push up, right? I was expecting this push up and then a pull down, and that's what we got here. We got the push up this morning, and then it pulled back. Exactly what I was hoping to see. So that it felt real good to see that today. Doesn't mean anything yet in my eyes. Again, it's not enough for me to fully be. I know my enthusiasm in the last video was, I guess for some of you, off the charts. It really wasn't for me. When you get to know me, that was very, very, very subtle for me. I'm typically a lot heavier than that when I'm excited. But nonetheless, I'm excited because, like I said, I believe this gives me the key to this algo in its entirety. But so I'm gonna do my diligence, and I'm doing the work to put this thing completely together and wrap it up. And I'm hoping to do that soon. I'm working tirelessly on it. I have been, and I will continue to do so. So that's what I'm looking for. That's the identifiable characteristic I'm looking for the macro to replicate and show itself to me. And if we get that, I'll be feeling even better about this entire thing. In the meantime, I'm going to continue to dig like I'm doing into these charts. So that's that. That's how that played out today. Now, what I would like to do is, let me go here. I want to go over the macro. I've had two macro, and again, I don't know if you guys have went back through any of my videos that I've put out previously to this one or to the one on Saturday, but I've been tracking two macro ALGO IDs and fractals that are still on the table. One is almost off the table. The other one is still on. And I just want to briefly show you those. If you want to go back and look at scenario one is what we've been calling it. We talk about it in the Discord as well as on the live streams daily. We look at it constantly. The first one, scenario one, is the single bottom scenario, and that is if this just is that if that's it, and we make a move up out of here, this shoulder completes itself and closes itself off, which it looked like it was going to do at one point. I had this rejection in, which is the same one we just looked at on micro macro, and it rejected there. So again, for that, it would have to really close itself off quick and make a hard move up. And in the other scenario, right, if it does do that, it's going to replicate that as well. This is a tricky thing when you're trying to, and I've explained this in great detail to all of my followers that have been here and all of the Discord. When you have previous fractals and movements that are very similar that you use as historical data points to compare these fractals that you're in current time, right? There you can find two or three of them that are different, right, from each other, but the current fractal that you're in and the movement in which it's displaying on a day-to-day basis and from a macro perspective will all resemble each other in their entirety to a certain point. And there comes a certain point in each one of them where you get validation and invalidation, and it all happens at once. And it sucks, but it's part of doing these, ALGO fractals and trying to do fractal and ALGO identifications, because you have so many historical data points to use. A lot of them make the same movements because it's an algorithm, and that's what algorithms do. They repeat themselves. So we're at that point still, right? I just showed you that one. I'm going to show you this one here. Go back and look at the Dollar Tree SPY 2008-2009 video. That really puts this into perspective, and it breaks everything down in detail as to what this entire thing is. A brief synopsis is this. SPY in 08-09, prior to the crash, Dollar Tree was one of the stocks that had the highest negative beta. I was led on this search by my brain to find out how stocks that had negative beta reacted, because I was seeing these conversations about whether or not AMC had negative beta or not. And I just was curious and wanted to see how stocks reacted that actually had it under those market conditions. Well, this is what I found. This is Dollar Tree 2008 right here. And beside you is the, oh shit, my bad. Give me 1 second. Here's the daily. AMC daily. So AMC daily and Dollar Tree 2008, 2009. I can get those looking closer. There we go. All right. Very similar, right? Like very, very, very similar. So what happened in that scenario was Dollar Tree dipped off, and I believe it was right around 60% took a dive prior to even the correction that the broader market and SPY made. And Dollar Tree was down here in the trenches when SPY made its correction. SPY bounced from its correction, which I'm going to show you in a second. And when it bounced from its correction, that's when this took off up out of here. And then SPY ended up dumping off the edge of a cliff, and this ended up making a grind the whole way up out of here and eventually going parabolic in a little bit. but it was just a steady grind up out. It went to new all-time highs. But this is how it all took place prior to the market disruption that the crash of 08-09 caused. I found this to be very, very interesting and very, very similar charting. So once again, this would lend itself to the single bottom scenario for obvious reasons. The inverted head and shoulders. Like I said, it looked like it might close off here last week, but it didn't. We're sitting here right now. You know, it's getting to that point now where it would really have to make a move. If it continues to come down any further, I'm just keeping my eye close on this one, you know, and I think it would have to happen sooner than later. Let's put it that way, to close that shoulder off and start making a move to the upside. With that in mind, with the micro to macro comparison, we're looking for that inside corner and then a move to the upside. So you can see if they both did that, they would still look similar to each other. This is what I'm talking about. Until a certain point, there'll be, like I said, a validation and invalidation point where we'll know. But regardless, that doesn't matter at that point as long as we're moving in a confirmed direction, right? So that's kind of where I'm at with that. So even with that move, it would lend itself to this as well. So that's how they would correlate. So that's that. Real quick, let me show you the SPY. Then I'll come in this scenario. Then I'll come back. This is the SPY. Currently, I put the 2008, 2009 movements I transposed onto the current SPY chart. I did it 2 weeks ago. You can see here how it's been following it ever since. This is what SPY looked like. Let me pull up a screenshot of SPY from 08 for you. Not that one. There we go. There's SPY.
Let's go.
Right there. SPY 08-09. This is what it did before it corrected. This is the correction. This is when Dollar Tree was down in the trenches. When this move happened, Dollar Tree got its first pop out of that single bottom, and then SPY eventually did this, and this is the crash that incurred after that. You can see here how they're similar as well. So again, go look at that video for full context. These are just the charts to give you a brief look at it. Again, I put those movements of SPY on here 2 weeks ago. It's following that. The last scenario, which would be scenario 2, that I was talking about before I started really looking into the micro macro thing that I just presented in a video on Saturday, is the double bottom scenario of the fractals that AMC has exhibited in its historical self. Specifically, the one prior to the January run-up. And let me, yeah, I guess I could, let me pull up, or do I have a, sorry guys. Okay. Double bottom, 7 year. Yeah. Okay. Okay, this is the macro 7 year, and I again made another video on all this, the 7 year fractal to 7 month fractal presently comparison. This is from IPO of AMC until the run up in January. A confluence of support happened down here. This is the same ALGO shapes and ALGO pattern of those shapes as we are currently in, as I will soon show you. There it is. I'll widen it up a little bit for you. All right, same thing. Descending wedge, breakout, breakdown, descending wedge, breakout, box top, breakdown, smaller descending wedge, smaller breakout, up at the resistance of the macro descending wedge, and then into the last descending wedge, which is then where it double bottom. This is where the confluence of support happened. In that scenario. This is where we are currently. So, what I explained in the previous video is, again, this is not a one-for-one thing. It doesn't have to be candle for candle. That's okay. We're looking at generalized movements within the fractal, and obviously in this scenario we're looking at the two macro fractals that it was in, the 7-year, the 7-month that we're in now, and the location within those fractals. And we're in the same location within those. We're also within the same location within the ALGO shape and pattern that is displayed within both of them as well. This here displayed the double bottom. I call this the double-double. We have a little W here, a W here, and it's a giant W. I'm looking here. Again, I know this looks like a single bottom, but it is a W. I showed you that in the 4-hour when we're looking at the other scenario, right? We had the break into the descending wedge, a check up to resistance, right? Break in, check up to resistance, break down, break down. We have the W. This is flatter than this. That's okay. If this wouldn't have been oversold down into 20, it'd be right here. But the W here, we run back up for a second rejection off the descending. We run back up off a second rejection, right? We come pulling down in here. And as you can see here, this would be the inverted head and shoulders look. Other than this isn't as wide swung and deep as this, right? But nonetheless, the generalized shape is still here. Okay, that's where this is. This comes down, turns back around, comes up for what I call a fake out breakout, up to the macro yellow descending wedge, somewhere in this area where my cursor is, rejects there, or even a fake out breakout to the top side of that. And then back down, we would come back down in here for the double bottom, for the double-double, the second part of that here, as well as when you put in the macro megaphone support line from back at $1.91, it does create another confluence of support. Again, go check out that video to see everything in detail. I just wanted you to have a synopsis of everything that I'm looking at. It's not just the one thing. So I've been doing this before you guys saw the video that I put out Saturday, and there's been more on the table than that, and I just wanted to give you guys a little insight into what that was. So this again is that, and here again, think about this as well, right? If this does swing around and make its move up like this, right, what's that going to do? It's going to replicate both the single bottom scenario 1 Dollar Tree scenario and the micro macro, right? However, in the long term, the micro macro, because of what movement we've had since Wednesday, Thursday of last week, on Friday and now today, would lend itself to this scenario. It would lend itself to a fake out breakout back down in for the double part of the double-double, and not the head and inverted head and shoulders Dollar Tree scenario. So realistically, again, there's only 2 scenarios on the table. There's still the double bottom confluence and the Dollar Tree single bottom. So we call them, what we've been calling them, is the Dollar Tree single bottom scenario 1 and the double bottom confluence scenario 2. Those are the only 2 on the table. Okay? I just wanted to go over those briefly with you guys so that you had those. If you haven't seen those and you want to see those, go check those out. I would greatly appreciate that. It would answer a lot of questions. And yeah, so we'll leave it at that. We did end today down 2.5% on AMC. GameStop We were up. What were we up on GameStop? 3% on Jimmy Boy. Looking good as far as the W goes, and I explained that. And again, I've put out GME and BBIG update videos, and they really haven't had the interest that AMC has. So unless there's an interest for them, I'm gonna just stay with AMC for the time being. I've done all three because that's what I'm in. That's where my money's at, and that's what I'm looking at. So if that's of interest, let me know. If not, I'll just keep doing the AMCs. But yeah, so we'll see how it takes place tomorrow. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, or at the beginning of the video, if you haven't been to the live stream, come check it out. Where I do the live stream Monday through Friday, open to close. I'll leave a link to the Discord and everything in the description of this video. Please do me a favor, like it on your way out. I would greatly appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel. And I appreciate all the sharing of the videos and everything, guys. Greatly appreciate it. It's been fun so far. So I look forward to everything. And if I don't see you guys in the next video, I will see you all in the live stream mañana. Later.